The 1960 presidential election was an epic battle between Richard Nixon, vice president under popular Republican President Dwight D. Eisenhower, and Massachusetts Senator John F. Kennedy. Richard Nixon was born in 1913. He joined the Navy in the Second World War, serving as a lieutenant commander in the Pacific. He represented California as a senator until the Eisenhower administration came to office, where he served 2 terms as vice president. 4 years younger, JFK was the second son of a wealthy Irish Catholic New England family. Also a Navy man, he saw active service during the war, receiving a Navy and Marine Corps Medal for Heroism. Shortly after his marriage to socialite Jacqueline Bouvier, a back injury led him to write his Pulitzer Prize-winning Profiles in Courage while he was convalescing. Kennedy's platform included talk of a new frontier, keeping America at the forefront of technological change and leading the world in space exploration. Aware of concerns about his Roman Catholic faith, Kennedy emphasized his support for the secular state and said he did not agree with government funding for parochial schools. He promised to bring fresh vision and leadership to the White House, and his youthful appearance played well to some audiences. But Nixon also used it against him. The Republican candidate attacked Kennedy on foreign policy and military matters, arguing his age and inexperience made him a dangerous choice for a time of world upheaval. However, an unfortunate slip by the president undermined Nixon's case. At the end of a grueling press conference, Eisenhower was asked which major decisions Nixon had played a role in. "If you give me a week, I might think of one," the president responded, referring to his exhaustion. But Nixon's opponents gleefully seized on the comment as a reference to the vice president's ineffectiveness. The vice president also lost 2 weeks of precious campaigning when he was sidelined by a knee infection. But the defining moments of the campaign came via the new medium of television.
This is Senator John Kennedy, the Democratic nominee for the office of the presidency. The 1960s presents our country with great opportunities and great challenges. If we're going to successfully move through the 60s, if we're going to be true to our destiny of being the great defender of freedom in these dangerous times, then the United States must build its strength. We are a great country, but I believe that we can be a greater country. We are a powerful country, but I believe we can be a more powerful country. The Democratic Party in its past years has served the people. Social Security, care for the aged, housing, human rights, all these have been the products of the liberal tradition of our great party. Now in 1960, in these dangerous and difficult and challenging times, I believe that the Democratic Party can lead again. I believe we can get this country moving again. I ask your support in this election on November 8th.
What is the most important issue confronting the American people in this election campaign? There's no question about the answer that I have found in traveling all over this nation. Above everything else, the American people want leaders who will keep the peace without surrender for America and the world. Henry Cabot Lodge and I have had the opportunity of serving with President Eisenhower in this cause for the last 7.5 years. We both know Mr. Khrushchev. We have sat opposite the conference table with him. We know what peace demands. We will keep America the strongest nation in the world, and we will couple that strength with firm diplomacy. No apologies, no regrets. Always willing to negotiate for peace, but never conceding anything without getting a concession in return.
Americans warmed to the youthful confidence of John F. Kennedy, and he became the youngest ever elected president in 1961, the height of the Cold War, a time of world turmoil. To emphasize the close bonds between Democrat and Republican outside the campaign trail, President-elect Kennedy visited Nixon at Key Biscayne in Florida for a photo call. The former opponent smiled and joked for the cameras, a difficult job for Nixon, who was still tasting the bitter ashes of defeat. His presidential aspirations were put on hold for another 8 years, until he successfully defeated Democratic nominee Hubert Humphrey in the race for the White House in 1968. He served 6 years as president before resigning in disgrace over Watergate.
Mr. Nixon terms it a very gracious act.